Hey guys, it's Pablo here. I'm with my friend Payton.
Nice to meet you.
If you just want to tell them a little bit about yourself and then go into the car that we're sitting in today.
Absolutely. So my name is Payton. I get to live my dream of basically owning my favorite car of all time, which is the C6 ZR1. So I'm super blessed to do that, and as well as live in this beautiful state, Arizona.
I love that. Yeah. So guys, I'll throw some shots of the car up, but this thing is perfect. It's a C6 ZR1. I remember when these things came out. My dad had a Chevy Tahoe at the time, and they had one of these. I think it was a dark gray though, but they had it sitting on like the dealership floor, and I think it was like the first like Corvette that I had as like a kid. I was just like, this thing is insane. Like I fell in love with it. The coolest thing was just being able to see the engine through the hood. Yeah, that was like, I mean, it still is not common at all.
No, it was a thing during this era where Ferrari was doing it, and everyone kind of made fun that GM didn't show the whole engine, but it is truly the supercharger there. A lot of people say it's just an engine cover, but that's the metal supercharger, at least the intercooler for it. Yeah. And so that's pretty cool.
And it looks sweet. They did a good job with it too. Like, I mean, similar how Ferrari does like the red with everything, but they matched with the brake calipers and everything like that.
Yeah, that is the cool part about it. When I was about 6 or 7 years old, my uncle, we call him Uncle Fox, but he actually bought me a Corvette book when I was like 6 or 7. So I'd been super into Corvettes. It had every year of them, and I would just study it like crazy. And the newest car in the book was, I believe it was a C6 Z06. Okay. And then, so this wasn't in there yet, and my favorite color was blue being a kid. And when Corvette came with all the blue accents for this car, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is like, the Z06 was already my favorite car, and it just like blew me away. So I was like, yeah. I love that. That was the fun part.
What made you pick the ZR1? Because obviously, I don't think this is a very common car. I mean, you just turned 25.
Yeah, you've really got to be like an enthusiast to really know about it. It's kind of a sleeper on a sense. Yeah. But a sleeper in an odd way, whereas if people do know about it, you'll have people pulling up to you on the freeway, giving you a thumbs up, or if they notice you in public, it's like they saw something crazy, which is fun. But to the normal eye, it's not. It's a little more understated.
That makes sense.
So that is a cool factor.
So you said you were always a fan of the Corvettes.
Yep.
Obviously you ended up with this one that's incredible.
Yeah.
What made you pick? Because I know that it was a bit of a journey to end up with this exact spec and everything.
Yeah, true.
How'd you end up with this?
So I was always had my eye pretty much on this car, at least spec, model, all that. I kind of toyed with Viper and things, but it was more the inner child in me where I never really paid too much attention to the Vipers growing up. Okay. I always thought they were super cool, but I was like, let's get into that range where you can almost just go to a Viper. But I just had to go with what my inner child wanted, and I'm so happy I did, because I certainly love this, the way it came out and everything. But I contacted dealers in Canada. I'm originally from Canada, so I was in touch with a couple places, and this one just turned out to be local, and I picked her up. So.
And you wanted the spec, right?
I wanted silver. I think it's more understated. I like the blue accents with it. Originally, growing up as like a kid, it was always about that I think it's Jetstream blue, or the Blue Devil, really the one that they promoted. But it was a lot of blue. It's got the engine blue, it's got the brake calipers blue, then the car's blue, and I was just like, I think silver will be a little toned back, and I really like the way it looks. It's like, if you know, it's the Blue Devil. You don't have to be bright blue.
Well, obviously there's a passion behind it if you end up with this in your 20s. So yeah, kind of what got you into cars? What got it all started?
So my dad still has his first car. It is a 1968 Mustang. So pretty much growing up in a car seat in the back of a 68 Mustang with, as I would always tell all my friends, with a nitrous bottle in the back, because he may not have even had it hooked up a lot of the time, but it was just such a cool thing to tell my friends that my dad had a Mustang with nitrous. Yeah. So it was all about cars since that age. And then once I moved to Southern California with my dad and my mom and everyone, and he would wake me up 6 a.m. every Saturday to go to the South Coast Cars and Coffee, which is huge car show. If you know about the Southern California. Now it's in St. Clemente. But I would shoot up out of bed probably before I could even see. When my dad woke me up to go to Cars and Coffee, I was like just bolting out the door because I was so excited every Saturday.
It's like the one time you wake up and you're like, let's get ready to go.
I'd probably put my pants on backwards. That's how.
I did South OC Cars and Coffee for the first time, I think exactly like a month ago. I can't believe that's what you were going to weekly?
Yep.
That'll definitely get it started, because that show's amazing.
I actually remember when the first one of the C6 ZR1 came to Cars and Coffee. That's how early it was. It was probably 9 or 8 years old when that happened. And it was bright red, and I just remember seeing the clear hood and grab my dad's shoulder and be like, "That's a ZR1."
I need that one.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
Here, especially when I was growing up, Cars and Coffee wasn't as big. I think California had it down. Here, there was like the Scuderia one.
Okay.
It happened back in like Gainey Ranch, and I remember my parents would take me. They're not really into cars, but they would take me, and it was as soon as I got my license, I was up there once a month, even though it was 40 minutes from home in high school, driving out there, and it was the only place you got to see. I mean, the Ferraris, like all the high-end cars, because they weren't really in other places around town. Kind of like in California, they're everywhere.
Yeah. Actually, a kind of a fun story about that, since I was so ready to get into cars. When I was actually 11 years old, from when I was 6, I'd saved up every $20, every $50 birthday gift card, anything. And when I was 11 years old, I bought my first car, which was a 1990 MR2 Turbo, and I picked it up for $4,000 with my dad, and we looked at everything, every type of car. We did the same sort of thing, even looked in Canada, but instead of an Xbox, instead of a PlayStation, that was the car, and it wasn't working.
Was it at 11?
11 years old to 15 and a half is when I started driving it, so
that's incredible.
Yeah.
So you were telling me earlier, you know how to like rebuild a full engine.
Well, I've done it with dirt bikes. So dirt bike, I can do an engine, bottom end, full rebuild in a weekend. I can do it. It's easy.
So was the MR2 kind of where that started? Like wrenching on it?
I had to do a pretty good amount of work to that thing. Yeah. It wasn't quite living up to the Toyota reliability name, but also I was upgrading it. I put like exhaust, bigger turbo, the whole thing.
I love that. And I mean, the journey, so it started at 11. You said you didn't get to drive until you were 15 and a half. I'm sure you've been through multiple cars to work your way up to this one.
Yeah.
Other than this, because this is obviously, like you said, your dream car, you're getting to drive it already.
Yeah.
What's your favorite one you've had before this?
The MR2. I still currently have a 94 MR2. It's not the same one, but I had to have it back. It's such a fun platform for the price. You get the mid-engine feel, you get the usability, and technically even the reliability of Toyota. So,
and I feel like those didn't really start gaining popularity until like recent years. Yeah, even now, I actually my barber's really into cars, and he was telling me he found one. I can't remember what it was. Would have been for like a third of what they're worth right now, because I think they're going for like high 30s.
Yeah, they are. They're up there now. So I actually picked mine up, I think, for $4,200, not running. Uncle loaned me $2,000 because I was looking at a non-turbo, and my uncle, he races Skylines and really cool Nissans up in Vancouver, Canada. And he told me, I will give you the extra money, just pay him back. Just go with the turbo.
So it's well worth the upgrade.
Yeah, I currently don't have the turbo. I have the NA. Totally fine though. It's kind of fun because I don't need a fast car. I've got this one, so that one.
This is already scratching that itch.
Yeah, you go through the gears a lot more on that one. So that's fun.
Very different cars. I kind of like to. I love it when car guys are like, you had your thing. It was Corvettes, right?
Yeah.
But I love it when people are like kind of diverse in that aspect.
Yeah, I've got a very diverse garage.
Into whatever. Yeah.
I've got currently a Duramax diesel truck. Tow with that. I've got an FJ 1976 FJ40, so the classic off-road from Toyota, and then this guy, so pretty different.
Love that. And I think one of the things that I mentioned earlier, you just turned 25.
Yep.
To get into a ZR1 is obviously not easy.
No.
Tell me about the journey and kind of how you got here, how you pulled it off, because it's honestly impressive.
It was a little crazy. So I have my grandpa to thank as well. So when I was 15, I flew out to London, England, in the UK, and he got me instantly an internship. So I was working essentially at 15, at least learning to go to work, come home, clock in, clock out, and it was for 3D printing. So it was a super fun job. At 15, I was driving around London, England, or not driving, I was taking the tube, as they say, but I was going and doing 3D printing, so we'd finish products, ship them out, and I did that with my grandpa for a while. And when I came back to California, I was just pumped to work. I was I was going to interviews everywhere at 15 and no one would hire me because they were like, you're 15, you have to be 16 or 15 and a half. And I just wanted to work so bad. I actually got a job at McDonald's because they didn't care, I guess. They were just like, yep, you can start right now. I'm like, okay, I'm working at Mickey D's. So there's a little bit of a difference from going to 3D printing to managing fries. But I actually stayed there for about 3 years while I did a million other things kind of with school, and I did little YouTube videos on like RC cars and things. But and then so I worked at McDonald's till 18. And I moved out right at 18. I wanted to just get things going.
Mm-hmm.
So at 18, I then switched to the hotel industry, which I really enjoyed. That was valet, got to drive supercars. Actually, backtracked a little bit. I was doing reservations, so I was booking the hotels, selling the rooms, selling the experience. And that was great because I actually ended up getting in a motorcycle accident. So I couldn't walk because I had a on cast and whatnot, but I was able to work reservations, which drove me crazy. This one, I think you can look at this guy. So that kind of drove me crazy because I really was active and then I wasn't active, so I just had to work that. As soon as I could walk, I was working valet, which was kind of hard because the manager kind of saw I had a limp.
Yeah.
But I literally just took the cast off. I just watched a YouTube video on how to walk, because it had been a while, and I would like put a pen in my pocket or try and just cover up because I was like, I need this job. So I would work that, and then I really just started to I realized that California wasn't so sustainable for me because it was taking all my money to live in Southern California, with my roommates and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I then just, it was a lot, but I set the goal to buy a home. So at that point, by the time doing all the calculations, I realized I had to work 80 plus hours a week. So I had the worst shift ever. I had 11 to 7, 11 to 7. So that means 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., 11 p.m. to 7 a.m.
So you got 2 4-hour breaks.
7 a.m., 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I did that for, I'd say, close to a year, and I just saved everything I could. And everyone was like, you're crazy. I didn't talk to anyone, I just worked, and everyone was saying, you're crazy, you don't need a house, you're 20 years old, 19 at the time, and you can wait. And I'm like, I don't think I can wait. I think the houses are just going to keep going up. And I was leaving California. I loved it. I got into dirt biking at the time, and I kept going to the desert when I lived on the coast, so it made no sense for me to pay coast money and want to live in the desert. So I ended up just getting my keys actually the day before lockdown, and I'm super happy I did that as well. So that kind of got me there. And then I worked FedEx, and that were the only people that were hiring at the time. So in the heat, delivering packages, just whatever the grind gave me, I would work. And I realized that sales can pay well if you put in a lot of effort. So I got into car sales, and that's where it eventually led me to this point where I was able to treat myself to what I ultimately wanted all along.
That is incredible. Having like the vision of what you want when you're 19 years old is crazy. That is, and like sticking to it too. I think that's a hard thing.
That
is
like the hard part.
Yeah, because a lot of us have an idea of like, okay, I want to get this car, I want to buy a house, but to actually like break it down and be like, okay, these are the shifts I need to put in, these are the hours I need to put in, and go for it. Yeah,
there was times where actually the security guard thought I was drinking on the job because I was so worn out I could barely kind of see him as I was walking down the hall, and that's where I kind of took a step back, like, maybe people are right, I am going a little too crazy here.
No, but that's awesome.
That's what it takes, I guess. So
I mean, it worked out for you.
It did.
You've achieved quite a few things. By mid-20s. I'm done, that's for sure. So congratulations on that, man. I guess on that journey, obviously hard work. If you were working 11 to 7 and 11 to 7, that is some insane hours. So the work ethic was there. But what's one thing you would recommend to someone? I mean, you've already been through it, so maybe you're not going to recommend the 11 to 7, 11 to 7. But something you'd recommend to someone that wants to achieve these things.
You got to make it happen, maybe. But more or less, it depends on what industry you're in. There's a lot of different kind of pointers to give, but one pointer maybe in sales is It depends on how things work. Every dealership's different, but if you're able to help someone and just know that you want to give them a better experience than what another salesman that you maybe work with, or you want to help them for their own benefit, essentially. Be there to help them, know them. And then at this point, for me, it's really kind of repeat customers. So everyone knows I took care of them the first time. I'm going to take care of them again. And that's all it really is to it.
So I guess on top of hard work, just genuinely caring about your job and doing the best you can at it.
A lot of guys come into sales and they think they're going to make it immediately.
Yeah.
And I tried with mine as well, but you just got to kind of stick with it and make those relationships be. And the hours are a little crazy, so you do have to have a high tolerance for dealing with, stressful situations. It's not an easy job for sure.
Yeah. I think it closely relates to what Tyler and I do. So obviously we're in real estate, and honestly, one of the reasons we work together is because we have that mindset of genuinely taking care of the people, becoming good at understanding what you're doing. Because I think similar with cars, with real estate, it's a big purchase for those people. Those are the two biggest purchases.
Yeah, I was shaking when I signed the deal with this guy, so I get it.
Yeah. So just making them comfortable with it, and then understanding them, like you said, actually getting to know them, and then they'll come back to you, and I think it ends up paying tenfold later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely does.
I love that. Anything else that you want to shout out? I know you have a YouTube channel and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you want to follow me, it's Everything Engines on YouTube. So I post car reviews on Gran Turismo, but I'm also doing more actual physical cars now, so we'll be doing that. Now we're showing up at 4 till 4.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on and love the story. I actually learned a lot about you. So
thank you.
Thank you guys.